Chapter 4. The Fire That Never Sleeps. That night, the rain didn't stop. It fell endlessly, tapping on the gym's rooftop, whispering against the windows like an old memory that refused to fade. She sat inside, stretching in silence, the faint hum of thunder echoing in the distance. The world outside was gray and restless, but inside, something was burning. It wasn't anger, it wasn't pride, it was something deeper, a quiet, steady fire that refused to go out. Months had passed since she first found the light within herself. Now that light had grown into something stronger, something that didn't just shine, but warmed her from the inside. And yet she knew, every fire needs fuel. Without challenge, even the brightest flame fades into smoke. The next chapter of her journey wasn't about strength anymore. It was about sustaining the fire. When life gets cold, when days blur together, when motivation fades and no one is there to remind you why you started. She woke up before dawn again. The alarm buzzed at 4:45 a.m., and for a moment she lay still, staring at the ceiling. The thought came, maybe I can rest today. But then another thought followed. You've rested before. You didn't come this far to stop now. So she got up. No music, no crowd, just the rhythm of her steps as she walked to the gym in the soft drizzle of morning rain. When she arrived, the air smelled of iron and chalk. The gym was almost empty, just her coach wiping down the equipment, nodding as she entered. You're early. I couldn't sleep, he smiled. That's how you know the fire's alive. Training that day was brutal. Her muscles screamed with every lift, her lungs burned, and her arms trembled. But she didn't stop. Pain, she realized, wasn't a punishment. It was a conversation. Every ache, every struggle was her body saying, I'm still with you. Midway through the set, her mind wandered. She remembered all those who quit along the way, the ones who started strong, full of promises, but vanished when it got hard. Some left because of pain, others because of boredom. But she understood now. The hardest part isn't starting, it's staying. When the first spark fades, when applause turns to silence, that's when the real test begins. Later that evening, as she sat by the locker, she found a message on her phone. It was from a younger woman she had met months ago, someone who once came to her for advice. How do you stay motivated? I keep losing focus. I feel like I'm running out of energy. She smiled softly. Then she typed back, I don't stay motivated, I stay committed. Motivation is a flame, it flickers. Commitment is the fire, it burns through the dark. She put the phone away and exhaled slowly. That was the truth she wished someone had told her years ago. Weeks passed. The routine continued. Lift, sweat, recover, repeat. But something inside her began to change. The gym no longer felt like a battlefield, it felt like a sanctuary. The weights, once symbols of struggle, had become old friends. Each rep whispered, you're still becoming. And yet the outside world didn't slow down. Work piled up, bills came, people left. Some days she wondered if her effort even mattered, if all these small battles added up to anything. Then one night she caught her reflection again, this time not in the gym mirror, but in a cafe window. She saw herself smiling after a long day, eyes calm, posture strong. For a moment she realized, this is the result. Not medals, not likes, not praise, but peace. Quiet, unshakable peace.
One morning, her coach surprised her with an invitation. "There's a local competition next month," he said. "You should join." She hesitated. "You know, I don't care about winning." "I know," he said, smiling. "That's exactly why you're ready." At first, she refused. Competing felt like going backward, chasing validation again. But later that night, she thought about the girl she once was, the one who trembled on her first day, afraid to be seen. Maybe this wasn't about proving anything. Maybe it was about honoring the journey. So she agreed. The day of the competition arrived. Crowds filled the small gym. Music blared. Cameras flashed. But she didn't feel nervous. Her heart was calm, steady like the beat of a drum she'd learned to trust. When it was her turn, she stepped onto the platform. The barbell gleamed under the lights, and for a moment, everything went quiet. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and remembered the early mornings, the silent nights, the pain, the tears, the notebook filled with words of strength. Then she lifted. The weight was heavy, heavier than anything she had done before. Her body trembled, her breath caught, her knees wavered, but her fire held. And in that instant, she realized the fire never sleeps. Even when you're tired, even when the world doubts you, it burns quietly, waiting for the moment you believe again. When the lift ended, the room erupted in applause. But she didn't hear it. She wasn't lifting for them. She was lifting for the woman she used to be, the one who needed to see that she could. Tears welled in her eyes, not from pain, but from gratitude. Because the fire wasn't just hers anymore. It was part of every person who had ever refused to quit. That evening, after the event, she walked out into the cool night air. Her coach caught up to her and said, "You didn't win the medal. Does it bother you?" She smiled. "No, I wasn't here to win. I was here to remember why I started." He nodded. "Then you've already won."
Later that night, she sat at her desk, opened her notebook again, and wrote, "The fire doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't need applause. It just needs you to keep feeding it, with faith, with patience, with small acts of courage." She closed the notebook and placed it beside her bed. The sound of the rain returned, soft, rhythmic, endless. But she didn't mind, because now she knew the fire within her would never sleep. And as the city outside faded into silence, she whispered one last line to herself. A promise, not to the world, but to her own heart. No matter how dark the night gets, I'll keep the fire alive. Because it's not the world that defines my light, it's the fire inside me that defines my world. The strongest people are not those who burn the brightest, but those who learn to burn the longest. The fire never sleeps. It just waits for you to believe again.